Welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Ogilthorpe from Xylo Chop Shop. What's happening, you guys? I've had a couple of other patrons from that guild hopping in here. Anyway, Ogilthorpe is a large dolphin, been playing for over 2 years, so quite a long time been playing, and kind of wants to know, in Arena specifically, an anti-Traya team, you know, how to kind of kill those Trayas. And, you know, with Traya teams, it really comes down to mods. And if you've got inferior mods, it's going to be very difficult. And if you have equal to or superior mods, it's not going to be as bad. But there's 3 teams that come to mind that you can use to kill Traya-led teams or teams that have Traya in it. And the first one is the team that you're using. That's right. The very team you're using works phenomenally well. With General Kenobi there, he's going to absorb or soak up the isolate, which allows for the other 2 to go to work. Now, I know a lot of people that say, I use this team and I still can't beat Traya leads, especially with the Sith Trooper, and that is where I would say you're probably, if you're having troubles, going to either have to get better mods or sub in Darth Nihilus. And if you sub in Darth Nihilus, you're going to get that annihilate and cooldown increases. And Darth Nihilus with the Jedi work really well, because while you're, you know, getting buffed and buffed and resisting all those debuffs, they're not. And so you can kind of get a quicker start. Your Darth Nihilus can get a little bit of a quicker start. Plus, with your Hermit Yoda, you can kind of pass the buff, the potency buff, and the ability to take the extra turns and stuff to Darth Nihilus. That's going to speed him up, because every time he's called to assist, his basic, as long as he's hitting somebody that's buffed, will reduce his overall cooldowns on Annihilate. And so that's overall going to be a really, really good thing. And so with that, I really recommend using the team that you have, as it's kind of a future meta team, and then just using the Darth Nihilus substitution method. But I have seen a lot of people using Commander Luke Skywalker. That's right, Commander Luke Skywalker lead, Han Solo, R2-D2, and then for the last 2 slots, I've seen a number of people using either Thrawn or Darth Nihilus. So there's a lot of different, like, oddball people you can kind of put in those back 2 slots, but Thrawn and Darth Nihilus are both really good, because Thrawn brings the fracture, and that's kind of control, with Darth Nihilus being able to kind of control the battlefield with cooldown increases. And so the way it would work is you'd want to fracture their Darth Nihilus, so you don't have to worry about that ticking time bomb, and then you would use your Darth Nihilus to increase cooldowns and start to annihilate their team. And with that, you would be able to just continue to fracture whoever it is you need as you continually take people out with Darth Nihilus. So Thrawn and Darth Nihilus is amazing, and with CLS, R2, and Han, there's a lot of damage and countering that occurs. So for characters such as Emperor Palpatine, who don't know any better and do an AoE, the AoE doesn't do a ton of damage, but it is going to cause a ton of countering, and so those lesser characters that they may be running with Traya leads, such as Emperor Palpatine, would be gone. Now, there is an even stronger team to counter, and that's right, that's Resistance. Now, there's actually videos out there of, you know, a Finn Zeta with Poe, a really fast Poe, and BB-8 and R2-D2 and Resistance Trooper, and it's pretty amazing, because as long as you got a really fast, you know, Poe, you can kind of go in and just start the turn meter reduction train with the exposes. But the problem is, you know, defensively it drops hard, so you could only use it as a climbing team. But a team that's kind of good like this, but, you know, is a decent defensive team, is actually Jedi Training Rey lead, BB-8 and R2-D2, and then in those back 2 slots, you could either put General Kenobi and Nest, or Poe and Resistance Trooper. I've actually seen both on my leaderboard, and both do really well. In fact, with my Traya-led team, sometimes I lose a character before I really even get to go with the Poe and Resistance Trooper combo, just because of how fast that team is, and Expose is one of those few mechanics that really chews through the durability of a team. And so whenever you're talking about a real tanky, durable team such as the Triumvirate, Expose is amazing, especially with like Darth Nihilus. And Expose on Darth Nihilus, it doesn't matter if he has 500,000 health, because Expose is going to take out 125,000 per Expose. And so it's still a percentage. A percentage of a lot is still a percentage. So with that, I highly recommend your JTR, BB-8, R2-D2, Resistance, Trooper, and Poe. Or if you find yourself not being successful because Traya isolates JTR or something to that effect, or gets R2-D2 and you're not happy with that, you can throw in General Kenobi in your nest, and General Kenobi is going to be able to absorb that, and Nest is going to be able to pop whoever you need. With the constant buffing and debuffing, you're going to be able, and exposes and things like that, you're going to be able to get Nest to hit for quite a bunch. So you got JTR-led resistance teams, CLS, you got possible resistance teams with like a Finn lead, and of course your Jedi, the like Bastila-led team that you currently run, which is, you know, a mighty awesome team. 4-star Gear 11 Bastila Shan, and then just maybe do a Darth Nihilus sub in if you find yourself having a hard time with that. Now, you did mention that you're developing some teams. You said you're developing Rogue One, so that's pretty awesome. Looks like you're coming right along. You've got Biston and K2SO, Cassian, Baze, Jyn, and Chirrut, and those are all 6 really great Rogue One characters. No Zetas necessary, although if you were going to apply 1 Zeta to the team, it would be Jyn's leadership for the protection regeneration, but it's not really necessary most times. But you've got ships that will be affected positively by developing these characters, as well as it'll really help with territory battles. And for territory wars, you know, Chirrut and Baze are still a great little combo to use together to try and kind of cut through certain teams. You also said you were farming and kind of working the Geonosians, both in ships and in characters, and that was smart of you, because with ships, it's true, you really need to make sure that you kind of diversify, and this is one of the most overpowered teams, or, you know, synergistic teams you can possibly get, and so working on the Geos is a really good idea. And of course, with Jedi, you said you're working on them, and they look phenomenal. You've really got a great Jedi team. It's really amazing now that you can run Jedi in Arena, when it was just, you know, a month ago that wasn't the case. And for years, that really wasn't the case. Basically, never have you been able to run, other than a very, 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 very short 2-month window over a year and a half ago. There's really not been a Jedi meta, so pretty exciting about that. So you're working on the right characters. Just to kind of give everyone just a glance at your roster so they can give you some suggestions as well. You've got, like I said, well over 2 years in here. You've got, you know, Gear 12 Enfys Nest, and Thrawn, and Han Solo, and RJT, and R2, Commander Luke, BB-8, Yoda, Hermit Yoda. I mean, the list goes on. General Kenobi, Rex. I mean, all of these characters, really, really great. You even have a 7-star Visa Samar. Zeta on her would definitely be worth it. And so you can see there's a lot of really great character development. You're now into the, you know, 8 and 9 gear, but you've got a lot of characters 7-star. I noticed Wampa's down there at 5-star. You're working him right now, trying to get him farmed up. And Gear 8, once you get him to Gear 11, you're going to start to see him in action a ton, especially in Arena. He's surprisingly very good in Arena. Now, one of the things kind of when scrolling through that you kind of see and go, what, is I see a 4-star Darth Sion, and you never really developed him, and a 4-star Bosk. And both of those are now farmable. Both are extremely difficult farms, so I hope that you have them in your favorites strictly for the farming to get them 7 stars, because both of them are excellent characters in the long run of the game, and so you're going to want to definitely work both of those characters up, both in gear and in star. And you also wanted me to look at your ships, and so here are your ships, and like I said, you've got, you know, a good development with a lot of the ships and a lot of the characters, and so quite a bit. Looks pretty good. And, you know, your Executrix is looking really good. Same with Chimera, but Executrix is who you're using on ships. Now, let's go back and see what you're using in your front 3. So you're using the Executrix, and then you're using the Imperial TIE Fighter with the TIE Advance and Biggs. Now, that's probably working really well for you, and if it's working well, then keep it. But I actually would suggest Biggs, TIE Advance, and instead of the Imperial TIE Fighter, I'd actually suggest Ghost. Now, the reason why I would suggest Ghost, for one, you've got quite a bit of development on the ship and the characters, including Kanan has a Zeta, so this is really going to help with the ship's overall stats. The Ghost is pretty durable and has the ability to go stealth, but where it's really cool is Static Jammer. I've told a lot of people this, but I'm hoping that I'm starting to sound like a broken record. This one, it says targeting the other ally are going to gain stealth for 2 turns. So you're going to stealth the TIE Advanced when you use this, because it's going to be in the initial 3. So the very first turn, you're going to use this, and it's going to stealth it and the TIE Advanced, which is going to keep them 2 alive until you get your backup into play. It also then calls that target ally and 2 rebel allies to assist. So it's going to call itself and Biggs and TIE Advanced. So they're going to deal 55% less damage, but it calls the TIE Advanced in. So TIE Advanced is going to go and target lock, and then Static Jammer is going to stealth the TIE Advanced in itself, and then do a triple mollywop with the TIE Advanced shooting again. So there's another target lock, and so that's Darth Vader doing damage twice and getting stealth with that, and that's going to give you the opportunity to pull in from your back lineup the Phantom 2, which you already have maximum impact maxed out and the reinforcement covert strike maxed out. And so pretty immediately you're going to get a backup ship, which is the Phantom 2, and now you've got the Phantom 2 and you will have Ghost together. The synergy between those 2 ships is pukey. It's horrible for anyone that's gone against it with the constant taunt and then stealth and then taunt and then foresight and then taunt and then stealth and foresight. It is so annoying, and with the 2 of them out there, people are going to be playing hopscotch back and forth trying to kill a ship, and then you're going to automatically have a 5th ship out. By the time they can finish the 4, one of your 4 ships, the 5th ship was going to come out, and you're using in your backup many good ships such as Cassian, Poe, and Slave 1. So Cassian needs some development, but you are working on your Rogue One. That's kind of what you said. That was your active work, and so that is really going to benefit Cassian's Ewing. The other thing is, if you do decide to put a Zeta on Jyn, that will help with the overall development of the health of the ship and the speed of the ship. And with this one, you really want to max out Guerrilla Strike. That's a really great one. And of course, the basics, because they're just used, basics are used a lot. But the double strike, or the Guerrilla Strike, is kind of what this ship's here for. That and the reinforcement. You will need to do the 75 reinforcement pieces to finish off Rebel Recon, because this isn't complete, and you'll want to complete the rest of the abilities once you get the rest of these characters geared up. But Cassian's Ewing is a great backup, and of course you've got Slave 1, max reinforcement, so excellent ship for reinforcement to kind of take over Biggs' slot once they finally kill Biggs. And of course, Poe is excellent to come in. Now, the biggest thing with Poe is, 1, you need to get dramatic entrance maxed out. So you need to get it up. There's 100 reinforcement pieces you're going to need total, 25 and then 75. And his basic and this perfect shot, with perfect shot being the more important of the 2. You need to max perfect shot out first, then you can move to cover all angles and max this out. This one right here, you get a little extra protection and turn meter when you max it out, so not the end of the world if you don't, but really perfect shot's most important, and then of course the basic cover all the angles. So that's Poe's X-Wing, and those are the 4 I would really suggest in the back. When you're using the Executrix, it's all about offense and just destruction. So with the Biggs taunting, TIE Advance gets to do that. Ghost can do some decent damage, with Phantom 2 coming in doing great damage, Cassian calling assists, so doing great damage, and if he calls a Rebel, it's a guaranteed double crit. And then you got Poe coming in doing mad damage, and a replacement tank that can do 2 different AoE damages in Slave 1. So Ogilthorpe, I hope this really helps focus you on ships. You're doing a great job. I feel like what you're using in ships is working, but I think that maybe subbing in the Ghost in the front 3 line, you may see more success with. You may also see yourself getting targeted more, and if you find that, you may want to switch back to something that gets you not targeted as much. But try it out, see what happens. I think you're going to find a lot more offensive success and potentially some defensiveness to that with having Ghost in there first. And as far as Traya goes, if they have superior mods, you're just kind of up S Creek without a paddle, so to speak. But if you've got equal to or greater than mods, you should be able to work it with the characters and team that you currently have, remembering that the expose mechanism from the Resistance is really key to any of those tanky teams you go against, and the CLS kind of counter squads still do pretty well because they're able to do twice as much damage through all of the countering that they're able to do with all of the AoEs that the Sith do. So there's just a lot of options there, and keep working on your Resistant or your Rogue One. I think that they're really the kind of the priority right now. You're right. Geonosians, that's a great priority right now. And then you also said you were going to be working on Night Sisters, so go there. That's definitely going to help you guys with the Sith raid. When you guys get a little bit higher. I believe you said you're tier 5 right now. So anyway, if anybody else has any thoughts on this roster, leave them in the comments down below, and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.